Hello, I'm TikTok Tony, and this video is about how to install an early Elliott tubular bell clock. So this is how you would get the clock if I shipped it. We'd have the screws for the movement in here, and everything would be disassembled. Here's the case. So the first thing we're going to do is place the tubes in here. So there's 9 tubes, 8 for the chimes and the longest one for the hour. So we're going to start with the longest one of the chimes, and it's always best to put them in from the top here. The strings go up around the back of this and hook on like so. So as you can see, the strings go round the back and hook over the front here. So the tubes sometimes touch at the bottom, so we can't have them touching either each other or the back. If the clock's leaning back, then it needs to be tilted forward at the top so the tubes do not bang against the case. Also, if they're touching each other, you can just take the string, pull it to left or right, and it will move the bottom to the left or right to stop them touching and banging against each other. So one of the problems is the brass cables, when they're new, they're twisted and they tend to get tangled around the arbors, down here. So I found the best way to ship these is to ship them like this, wrapped around here, and they don't get tangled. Install the weights with the brass cables completely taken off the barrels here. You can see the catch for the brass cable is at the 3 o'clock and at that side at the 9 o'clock point. So don't do it with the catch at the bottom, because the cable will come out and then you'll not be able to put it in. If you've wound the cables onto the barrel, then you need to release them. You need to release the click spring, which in this case is here. You can't really see it. Pressing the click spring will allow you to pull the cables off the barrel. So the next step is to place the movement in the clock. As you can see, I've removed the screws before I do that. In this case, I've marked where the screw holes are, so they're going to line this up with the marks. So lining the screw holes up with the marks, we can go through the existing holes. There you go, you can tell when you got through the existing holes. I'm not going to cinch it down, but it gets cinched down obviously. So at this point, alright, make sure the hood, I'll put the hood on. Just to make sure we have the clock in the correct position here. And we can in fact adjust the position so that well, the hood has to be properly on before you can adjust the position. So now the hood's on properly, and you can see the dial is centered and lined up perfectly in the dial mask. If it isn't, you need to adjust the movement so that it is. So now we have the cables completely unwound. We put the weight, or add the weight on. Oh, the weights are marked in this case, L for left. The heaviest weight is always at the right hand side. That's the chime side. So we put the weight in. So next I'm going to install the pendulum. So one of the tricks when you've got the chime barrel at that location is to put the pendulum hanger in sideways, put it through and bring it then down onto its resting position. At that point you can then put the crutch through the hole. So the hard weight to install is the right hand weight, it's the heaviest. You can install it like this. This is how I do it, off my knee. You can also do it off the edge of the clock. The knee to me seems a bit safer. Once we get it like that, install it and install it in the bottom of the clock. So as you can see, I'm taking some slack out of the cable once the cable's correct on the pulley, and I'm winding the weight up. Now I'm taking the pressure off the weight and we can see it goes evenly. So at this point the tubes are clanging against each other and against the back because the clock isn't leveled and the tubes aren't set right. So just ignore the sound at this point. So the gap here needs to be approximately 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch. You achieve that by bending the rod at this point here to bring it closer to or further away from the tube. These are just locking nuts. These do not do any adjustment. This is just for the spring action of the hammer. Here is where you adjust the distance. So last thing to do is to install the hour tube. So we install the hour tube, being careful not to hit the pendulum. Strings 2 also go over from the back and hang out front. Actually they go, in this case, they'll go the other side. If the clock isn't level, the hour tube will bang against the side. So you don't need it banging against the side of the clock. In this case I put the strings over from this side to give it just an extra 1/4 of an inch away. But when the clock is level, it should not bang. So the last step is to install the hood. The catches at the back of this one, so you have to make sure they're out of the way before the hood can be pulled fully forward. And there you have it, installation is complete.